Welcome to This Is What 40 Looks Like, where structure meets soul and reinvention isn't just allowed, it's expected. I'm Melodian Whiteley, author, speaker, and founder of the Rebel Tribe, here to help you design a life and a business that fits who you are now.
And I'm Andy W. Shepherd, heart-centered coach and creative rebel, reminding you that your best years aren't behind you, they're unfolding right now. Together, we're having the real conversations about starting over, finding purpose, and living fully after 40, 50, 60, or whenever the heck you're ready. So make yourself a cuppa,
Take a deep breath,
and let's dive in. Welcome back to This Is What 40 Looks Like. I'm Andy W. Shepherd.
and I'm Melodian, and today we're diving into part 2 of something that we all seem to deal with, confidence, because apparently we had a lot more to say than just one episode could handle.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, confidence, in my opinion, is one of the most important things we have. Confidence, there are other aspects of confidence as well, which are integrated into it, like belief, faith, and trust, and so on. There's so many areas that we must have confidence. I mean, the obvious one is crossing the road safely. If we don't have confidence that we're not going to get across safely, we just wouldn't do it. So we believe strongly that we can do that. We trust the motorists are going to do their job and stop and allow us to not have a collision with them and so on. The other thing is that we need to have trust that our car will start in the morning. We have to have confidence that when we turn the ignition on or press the starter button, that it's going to spring into action. Because if it doesn't, if we get late for our job too many times, we're not going to have a job anymore. And that's why we literally have brands that we trust in. We know that they're reliable. And there's such a big topic. There's so many more things that we need confidence in.
Yep. Little things like knowing that things will work, like when you hit the record button, it actually came on.
Side note, folks, we just did about 30 minutes and realized we didn't hit record. So yeah, confidence that you're doing the recording is a good thing. Yeah.
But it's also knowing things like you can walk into the grocery store without having a full-on anxiety attack, or, believing something as simple as you can just show up for your day without falling apart. I mean, it's everywhere.
It's true. It's true. And there are specific areas which are absolutely critical where you do need confidence, otherwise there's going to be dire consequences. One of them is going to be getting the job. I mean, if you're getting a job and you're not confident, then the interviewer is just not going to be impressed. They're not going to be confident that you can do the job. So your confidence is something that's absolutely crucial. I believe that you need some form of confidence, some level of confidence to be able to talk to a girl or guy to get the girl or guy. It's just if you don't have confidence, it's like that person's just it's going to be very awkward. If you've got somebody who's very shy, maybe on one hand it can be kind of endearing, but if it's too much, then there's just nothing you can. It's just very not appealing at all, and you're just thinking, well, who is this person? Other areas are, when you're presenting, this is a huge area. I hear so many people who, even doing a Facebook video is petrifying to them. But it's just like a massive area where, like presenting at meetings. I've had, clients who have had some really big meetings that they had to be the chairperson of, and they were really, really frightened because they got the top brass in there they were going to talk to. And I took them through some of the things that I'm going to share with you now. and a bit more as well. And they got through with flying colors, but it's nerve-wracking. Zoom can be the same. Being on stage, TV, radio, and podcasts like now, it's very nerve-wracking. I remember the first time that I appeared on, and I had a camera in front of me. I had a microphone, lights. I was like a rabbit in the high beam, just froze, and just it was really, really horrible experience because I had to say stuff. I had to be okay. But this kind of the fight or fright. I went into fright mode and just froze. It's horrendous. A lot of people really, really suffer from that.
And if you're a woman, and especially a woman over 40, I mean, you know, we get to add in hormones and aging and imposter syndrome and a world that tells us all the time that we're too much or we're not enough. I mean, confidence becomes almost like I don't know, a daily self rescue mission.
Yeah, and social media and magazines are not helping with that, telling women how they should appear and what they should be thinking and way they should be doing stuff. And imposter syndrome is a massive thing. I'll talk more about that later. And even guys can suffer from that, though they won't admit it. And aging kind of can bother us as well, but we won't admit that either. You know, when we lack confidence, there is something deeper going on usually. Um, there's something that's happened to us maybe in the past that we've just not realized, and it's really affecting us subconsciously. An example of this of imposter syndrome happened to me when I guess I was 11 or 12 years old, and it took me 50 years to realize, or 40 years to realize what's happening, and 50 years to be able to deal with it. But it was an event that happened when I was at school, and I was not in the top math class, but in the one below it, and I was the top of the class. My dad was a is was he's passed now. He was a mathematician and helped me a lot. So I'd always be so proud, put my hand up, please sir, I know the answer, and pretty much always I'd give the right answer. This is great. And there's this day when we were all lined up in the corridor outside the classroom. And then they took the top math group, and they did the same. And one by one, we were called upon. And I was like, wait, I was just listening out for my name, wondering what was going on. And they put me in the top math class. And at that moment, instantly, from being the top, I just shrank. And I didn't realize it, but I was suffering from imposter syndrome because I was just, going, oh, I really hope, please, sir, don't pick on me when they were calling people's names out for answers. And that was a big, big thing. And you know what? I I never got one person to say, "What the hell are you doing here?" Not one person. Everybody was very nice from me to me. So the whole thing was just totally in my head. And like I say, 50 years after the event, more or less, I then found the what I could do, a process to heal myself through that. So thank goodness. And now that's not something I need to concern myself with. The other aspect of that is that we can have too much confidence. And there's a reason for that as well. That can be something psychological, and we're kind of overcompensating, so our insecurity is crazy, but that, can be because of a lack of confidence, even though we're appearing to be super confident. We're kind of, acting, trying to act the part, but it's exaggerated, and it's not a good look.
That's for sure. And that's why we're talking about it so much. That's why we talk about it a lot on the show because confidence, everybody thinks you're like born with it, and you're not. It's not a personality trait. It's not something you're born with. It's a practice, and anyone can lose it, like Andy did when they moved him, but anyone can rebuild it, like Andy did when he found his process. It's something you don't you I don't know that you ever actually recover from imposter syndrome, but you can practice confidence every day so that it doesn't impact your life like it used to.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, and conventional therapy, that is absolutely true what you've said. But what I found was something that just goes in much deeper and works energetically. And I do believe that it's gone away. I really do. Having said that, I will agree with you that there's going to be certain situations that any person gets in, even if they're the most confident person in the world, where they're not feeling comfortable, or at least they're feeling a little bit unsure of themselves. That is for sure, definitely. So, and the another thing to also mention is we're not born with it, but I think we can be influenced by our parents and the people that we hang out with. And I think if our parents are very confident, then we can we'll probably take that confidence on. And if we're surrounded by confident people, I've found there's a big tendency for us to take that on. Remember, we're the average of the five people we hang out with most, and that's why, because we are influenced. It's just part of our nature. So, what can we do to get confident? Well, as I kind of mentioned, I went through some kind of inner work, and coaching and therapy are great ways to help with the confidence. And um, I really do believe that. I mean, I know I'm a coach, so I'm going to, aren't I? And I've got a lot of friends who are therapists, and I see the work that they're doing. So that's kind of my world and what I'm seeing. Um, but it's interesting how, and shocking in a way, that sometimes the smallest thing can take away our confidence.
Yeah, one little comment is all it takes sometimes. And sometimes you just wake up one day and think, you know, I mean, especially when you're starting a business or something, or you're trying something new, and you just wake up one day and you look at everything and you go, "Who the hell am I to be doing this?" It happens.
Yeah, I think imposter syndrome is something that is very prevalent with any kind of new venture, whether it's new business, starting a podcast, starting doing videos on YouTube, writing a book, whatever it is, we're going to, really suffer from um, imposter syndrome. And some of that can be the internal stuff that I'm talking about. But also, I think there's a societal thing as well, where we need to kind of hold ourselves back and not kind of show off too much. And so sometimes it's kind of the imposter syndrome is maybe a kind of cultural thing, kind of making us be a little bit you know, kind of holding ourselves back, and not so, oh, I'm amazing and all this kind of stuff. So, what can we do in the meantime? Well, one thing to consider is that low energy people generally they don't have much confidence. I mean, if you're depressed, if you're overwhelmed, basically this is going to have a very negative impact. If you've got somebody who's very depressed, I mean, you're not going to see them as being confident. Of course not. They're seeing a very bad aspect of the world, and they're kind of things are not good for them. So with high energy people, they're always going to show up as confident, and their energy is completely different. They've got a much more positive aspect and view of the world, and you're going to feel that. I mean, a person who's depressed is radiating negative energy, and you're going to feel that. If you've got a high energy person, they're going to be radiating this amazing positive energy. And that is something that we associate with being confidence.
Yep. And that's why I play music like before a live stream or before a podcast. I play music. I blast music. Kids used to complain that you could hear the music like rattle in the windows in the house because I would play it so loud. And if I'm working while I'm doing that, if I'm like, doing dishes or something, then I'll be dancing. So I'm dancing and blasting music. Because if my energy is low, like you said, if my energy is low, then my confidence is low. Period. It's just how it is.
Right. Yeah, yeah. It's very important. So, how can we raise our energy? Well, Melodians just said one way, and that's like blasting the music. That's excellent. And so we really need to. Tony Robbins talks about something called the triad, and I'm not going to go into it. I mean, this subject is huge, and I could talk about this for a long, long time. But I'm just giving you some information here. So, basically, if we use NLP, neuro linguistic programming, this can really, really help us to um, change the triad. Physiology is one big part of it, which will impact our energy and consequently our confidence. So basically, let's just look at this. I mean, if you see somebody slouching, or if you just try it yourself, if you're slouching, your energy drops. If you sit there, if you want to get depressed, it's really easy. Just slouch. If you, so it's easy. Just do the opposite. I mean, you don't see, you see, I mean, the most of the confident people you're going to see are sitting up straight, standing up straight. Um, I've seen a really interesting MIT study that cured clinically depressed patients. Clinically depressed. All they did was something so simple. When I heard this first, it blew my mind. They spent standing up, they just kind of didn't slouch. They stood tall, their arms to the sides, and they just smiled for 15 minutes in front of a three-way mirror. 15 minutes, three times a day. And they did this, I think it was like for 3 weeks. And at the end of the study, 60% of 80% of them were not depressed anymore. And 60 of those 80% were never depressed again and didn't need to do this practice again. It had gone forever. This blows my mind. And the other 20%, if they just did it on a regular basis, that would, keep that would their depression would go away. That's just amazing. And this is just one component. Remember, there's a triad. So this is just one component. So it's fantastic. The other thing is that's good is vigorous exercising, running, getting that buzz, fast walking. As Melodian said, cranking up the music. If you want to win an interview and do really well, is when you're in your car. I don't know, maybe you need to talk to your Uber driver if you're getting a ride, but usually they're pretty cool and go with it. Get the music cranking, sing your favorite song at the top of your voice. And at the end of it, you're going to be buzzing and you're just going to really see an impact. The interviewer is just going to be going, wow, this person's so positive. This is amazing. I mean, I did some stuff before this, and if you before this podcast, and I did some power moves. So this is something I learned from Tony Robbins. It's an NLP technique that I learned, and it basically just locked in some this positive energy, if you like. I anchored it using an NLP term, I don't want to go too deep, otherwise it's just going to be a big NLP session. But all I want to do is just share that there are a lot of things that you can do to just get your confidence. This is just kind of a taster, if you like. And some of the stuff I'm saying you can use straight away. I'm just keeping the simple stuff is going to have a high impact. The other thing you can do is to dance. All of these things are really going to help your confidence. And the other thing that I love doing, and I've been uh, even saying it today, is affirmations. So there's one that I got from Tony Robbins, and I'm realizing after kind of my research these past few days that my version of it is a bit different, but never mind. But before big trans presentations, well, I'm listening to Tony and I'm trying to write it down. Maybe he changed it a few times. I don't know. It fits. So there you go.
Whatever
Would you like me to
works.
share it? Would you like to hear it?
Only if you do it with all the gusto that you did it on the episode that we
Oh
failed to
yeah.
record.
I'll do my best. I hope my voice will stand up for it, but let's give it a go. Let's give it a go.
Okay. Okay.
I now command my subconscious mind to direct me to helping as many people as possible today by giving me the strength, the emotion, the humor, the brevity, the playfulness, whatever it takes to help these people to change their lives for the better right now. I now command, and then you just keep going, and I just loop it and go as fast as I could, fast as I could, fast as I could. And here's the secret. It's like when I felt this rush of energy come through me, it's at that point I knew I was ready. It was like I connected to something. It's really weird. And so I really believe these affirmations can have a very powerful effect. But even if you're not getting this energy rush that like I get, this buzz that I feel, and I really do feel if you're putting emotion into this the way that I have, and you're just doing it one after the other, and you do it for 5, 10, 15 minutes, you're going to start feeling pretty good. And even if you don't, we know because we're all different, I promise you it's going to change your your state, as we call it, your energy level. So simpler things, if that's not your cup of tea, you don't want to do affirmations, that's fine. So what can you do? Well, basically, you know the drill. Stop watching the news, and that includes YouTube, Facebook. Just cut it out. In its place, laugh more, watch more comedies, just watch as much humor as possible. That's really gonna lift your spirits and make you feel more confident. Because if you're happy, you're confident. If you're sad, it's going to be a challenge to feel good and confident. Don't you think?
Oh, come on now. Doom scrolling's become a national pastime.
Just because something's a national pastime doesn't mean it's a good thing.
Yeah, no, I know it. I have my own version. I don't do quite the affirmation that you do, and certainly without that much spirit. But I do. I turn on Toby Mac, which is I don't know if it's he's a Christian artist, so I listen to his music, and then I dance in my kitchen, like I said, while I'm listening to it, and then I tell myself that we are not doing self doubt today. We're just not. So works every time.
I love it. I've got visions of you dancing around in the kitchen. That's cool. I love it. So okay, everybody who's been listening to this podcast and got through to the end, thank you very much. I'd just like to gift you something to help you on your journey. So this has been helpful, and you'd like more confidence. I'd really like to gift you a From Fear to Fearless Confidence session. So if that's interesting to you, just go to talktoandythecoach.com. That's talktoandythecoach.com, and I'll happily gift you From Fear to Fearless coaching
That's a
session.
really great offer too. That's a great offer. I mean, it is a great next step for anybody who's ready to take this a little deeper. So thanks for offering that, Andy.
Thank you. Thank you. And remember, everybody, confidence isn't a one-time achievement. It's something we build. Sometimes we may lose and then need to rebuild. We need to continuously strengthen it again and again. We need to do the inner work. And along the way, we can use tools to create short-term confidence while we're on our journey.
Yep. And if you're over 40 and you're a woman, let me tell you, ladies, okay, you're just getting started because confidence hits a whole lot different when you've actually lived life. Thanks for tuning in to This Is What 40 Looks Like. If you loved today's episode, share it with a friend, leave us a review, hit that notification button so you never miss an episode, and don't forget to leave us a comment. We'd love to hear how your next chapter is unfolding.
And remember, your age is not a deadline, it's a launching pad. Keep rebelling, keep rising, and we'll see you on the next episode.